We must remember booming across the state is not just state government issue, it's not just local entities issue, but it's an issue for all Texans. Every dollar that we spend comes from the sweat of a hard-working man or woman that lives in Texas. So we must be very thoughtful with his or her money. Now, I have to be honest, the budgetary constraints and pressures will necessitate recalibrating our expenditures and will probably cause us, I think, in a positive way, to evaluate the productivity of our system. I think at the apex of academic accountability and financial accountability is productivity. And we have to keep that in mind as we go through this process. Education is one of, if not the biggest driver in our budget. And it must play a role in our discussions, whether we're on finance or whether we're here in the Education Committee. We've got to look at the dollars and cents and evaluate them, each as important as the other. But I promise you that to the best of my ability, I will work, and I know all of you will, to mitigate that impact. And I want all of you to know that we're here to work with you. I'm sure that folks have been coming to your office, as they have to mine, and to talk explicitly about the difficulties that this budget will bring upon their school district. Lost services, reduction in personnel. I've even heard and read about the threats of lawsuits for failing to meet our constitutional requirements. You can be rest assured we will meet our constitutional requirements. And I believe in the midst of these dire circumstances and consequences, it is very easy for us to lose sight of the most important issue in front of us, and that's the education of every child in the state of Texas. At the Thomas Fordham Institute, there was a report that was offered, and it was called Stretching the School Dollar. As we look at the challenges of our day, the baby boomer generation, the Medicaid and Medicare costs, debt payments, and all the other demands that are taking place, particularly in our budget, we as policymakers must look at carefully allocating our resources while balancing what is in the best interests of our students. It's a sort of do no harm approach. We must be smart in our opportunities, we must cut wisely, and we must help our schools and our students emerge stronger and better than before. In November, Secretary of Education Arne Duncan gave a speech. He titled it, and I love the title. Of course, he got it from the woman that Barack Obama actually had, who I thought was one of the most articulate people I'd ever heard. But the title of his speech was "The New Normal. Is This My New Normal?" she said. And the new normal is doing more with less. This is the Secretary of Education for this country. He said, "I believe enormous opportunities for improving the productivity of our education system lie ahead if we are smart, if we are innovative, and if we are courageous in rethinking the status quo." I challenge all of us here today, particularly my committee members, but everyone in this audience, I challenge us to recognize and be aware of the fact that this is our new normal. And I challenge us to be smart, I challenge us to be innovative, and I challenge us to be courageous in our deliberations. You know, P.T. Barnum once said, "Every cloud has a silver lining." So I think we have to be looking for that silver lining. It's absolutely imperative. The place is here, and the time is now. We have a chance not just to survive a budget contraction, but we have a chance to revolutionize education in the state of Texas. Over the years, we have done a disservice to our school districts by straitjacketing them with restrictions and directives from what I like to call from the ridiculous to the sublime. The ridiculous, telling you what kind of rat poison control you ought to have in your school buildings. Ridiculous. The sublime, the possibility of changing 22 to 1. A very important debate and dialogue. And at the end of the day, a decision will be made, but we will have had a good, strong debate and dialogue over it. This morning I filed Senate Bill 468, we just filed it a minute ago, which is a mandate relief bill. It has several provisions in there for mandate relief, but it's a shell bill. It is the beginning of a very important product that we won't complete until we complete this process that we're about to begin today. What I hope that we will do is that the state will stop telling you, your districts, how many teachers to hire and what to pay them. That we will not box you in with bureaucratic red tape time and time again that takes time away from task and that spends your money in an inappropriate way. The state has pursued what I call education issues du jour over a period of time that don't necessarily lead to success. But no one knows this better than you do back in the districts. I still maintain that we must have the fortitude and the vision to do two things: to not retreat from our goal of post-secondary readiness for all students, and to tear down the barriers that we've created to effectively and efficiently achieve our goals. That's what this hearing is about today. We're going to weed out that which strangles our ability to be productively operating our schools so that teachers can teach and principals can lead. And this is a forum for local communities, local school districts, to create this partnership with the state of Texas and comment on how we can achieve that goal.